If I can have everybody's attention here in the media center, we will continue on our media availability today with Joey Logano, driver of the number 22 Shell Pennzoil Ford for Penske Racing. Joe, you hold the distinction here of being the last non-Hendrick Motorsports driver to win at Pocono Raceway. I mean, they've won 5 straight races. What's it going to take to really knock them off the mountain this weekend?
I didn't even know that. So, apparently a lot. This is one of those racetracks that, aero and horsepower come into play a lot, and we've seen Hendrick be very good in those departments. Not that Penske isn't. I feel like we've had some fast race cars here in the past. I think we finished 3rd here in the fall. Brad almost won in the spring. So we've been closer in the past. Just apparently those guys are a tick faster. And they've had the right strategy. There's a lot that goes into winning at Pocono. As we're watching the race on the way up here, it's actually it's a pretty entertaining race to watch because the strategy just changes so much. And you're as you rewatch it, I know what was going to happen. I knew Junior was going to win the race, but I was watching just kind of how it all played out and how it all worked out was pretty interesting. So strategy is key here. It's a big deal, making sure we have the right one. Which is always subject to change throughout the race, and making sure you can pass cars when you can and try to make that strategy work also. So you got to have a fast car to do that. So a lot of things go into winning this one.
If you can raise your hand, we'll get a wireless mic to you. We'll start here in the middle and go head over to Bob.
Hi, Sean Succi, Pocono Record. You have 4 top 10 finishes in your last 6 races here at Pocono. What has gone right for you here, and how can you build from that?
I think it's always kind of been a good racetrack for me, even before they repaved it. But those races, I think all of them have come from the repaved racetrack here, and we've just had a fast race car, and restarts are a big deal here. Being able to make the most out of it and working, we've seen the restarts here obviously be crazy. Down into turn 1 and into the tunnel, this first lap or 2, and the way the draft works and how long the straightaways are and how wide the straightaways are just always gets crazy. So having a good car there is important. And it's like I said, things have kind of worked out for us decent. But like I said, top 10s aren't really what we're shooting for at this point in the season. We really want some wins.
Bob Hockers, ESPN. Have a lot of drivers who weren't on the council talk to you this week about what was said, or are drivers just so focused on the season right now that there wasn't a lot of conversation?
We've all been kind of focused in on what we're doing to make sure we're fast on the racetrack. I know I am at least, and we don't ever see each other during the week most of the time besides your teammates because most of the time you see you guys at the shop, but that's kind of it. So, there's a constant dialogue between the drivers that see each other and when we're at the racetrack and stuff like that, but that's about the extent of that.
We're going to go to Dan and then the Owl.
Dan Gelson, Associated Press. Joey, how did you get involved in Sharknado? And when did you film it, and have you seen it?
Jeremy, my Tribbiani here. He's not here today. He's a part-timer, but must be nice. But he asked me if I wanted to be in this Sharknado thing, and I'd never even heard of it. And I'm like, okay. So it's kind of went along with it. And as I learned more about what it's about, it became funnier to me. And so we filmed it when we were in California in the outside the Xfinity garage, a little bit down towards the end there. And I got one line. I got my big line, so I'm going to Hollywood, and I don't know. I actually saw our part, the whole NASCAR part. It's pretty funny. I don't know if it's supposed to be funny, but it's really funny to me. That. It's one word, actually. It's just that. That's my line. Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
I mean, I freaking nailed it. That's all I can say. I did one hell of a job. Do you live? I don't know, actually, if I live. I didn't see anything past that part. I saw like a minute and a half clip, and I don't know. It looks like I'm about to die, but I'm not really sure.
You and Brad do it together?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go to Al and then back to
Brad's
Zach.
line's better than mine.
Joey, a far less important question. Are there certain racetracks where aero push is a bigger issue than others? And if they told you, fix aero push, how would you do it?
Well, that's a very complicated question. To answer your first part, yes, there's tracks that are easier than others when it comes to just aero being behind cars, not necessarily a push or just losing overall grip behind another car. And the racetracks that are wider give you a little bit more room, but it's something that's very challenging. How to fix that? That's the $1 million question. I don't know. We all have our ideas and what we think would be the answer, but you don't know until you try it. And you put in situations, and we've tried a lot of different areas and different things to do and try to fix it. A lot of it is just because we've learned the power of having great platform in our car and relying on air so much with these race cars that you can't unlearn that. We've found where the speed is. All these teams have, and how to make their cars faster. It's on the aero side more than the mechanical side. You need both, but you know what I mean. And once you've learned that, you can't unlearn it. It is what it is, and we'll always rely on air. But is there ways we can lessen that? I'm sure there is. Just finding the right way to do it. There's a million different ways to mix it all up and say, okay, this is the best package or this is the best package. But we just got to, a little bit of trial and error, talking with the drivers like they are. I think it's a great way. I think talking with the owners and the teams and the engineers, the more we can all communicate and talk about it, we can put all our ideas together and have something.
We're going to go to Zach and then over to Joseph.
Hi, Zach Tanzarelli, Redmond's Racing. You raced wheel to wheel with Mark Martin in 2012. Right here. Raced wheel to wheel with Mark Martin in 2012. Out to your win that year. Can you kind of recap how that race was, racing with him and going on to win the race?
That was cool. That to me kind of felt like my first Cup win. So this place is always going to be kind of special for me. Actually, when I sat up here, I was thinking about when we won here and how special it was when I sat here and was able to talk to you guys about that. And it was just you're racing against Mark Martin. Obviously a legend in our sport, was my favorite driver growing up. One of the main reasons why I was even here is because of Mark Martin. And, you're racing him for a win. And obviously that was in a challenging time in my career, not knowing where I was going to race the next year, if I was going to have a ride and what I was going to do. And, getting that win was one of the most special wins of my life. And, it's hard to kind of put it in words on what it was like. I just know I was shaking the last 4 laps inside the car, and I've never had that feeling before, or haven't had it since that day. So winning here was a special one for us.
Joseph
Walken, frontstretch.com. How much pressure have you put on yourself to succeed this season after your Daytona 500 win?
Not any more than what we would have, and if we didn't win Daytona 500, we want to succeed no matter what. And I feel like we've had some good runs for sure. We have a lot of top 5s, a lot of top 10s this season. We want more than one win, that's for sure. And we need to find a little bit more speed to get to that point. Does it add pressure to us to want to finish off the year great? We wanted to finish off great anyway, so we're going to put that pressure on ourselves no matter what, as we should.
Finish up here with Chris.
Chris Knight, catchfence.com. Some of the drivers talked about that the tunnel turn is really rough.
Is it?
Exactly how rough?
I still got a headache, so.
Exactly how rough is it, and what will that play out for Sunday's race?
Apparently winter was really harsh here or something. It's unbelievable. I figured Travis Pastrana would be really good here. With the jump and the tunnel turn there. It's just it's brutal. It's a big jump. Front tires are completely off the racetrack. So obviously that's hard inside the race car to figure out how to get over that for the driver, but for the team, you try to fix that, you hurt the rest of the racetrack, and so you give up 2 corners for 1 corner. It doesn't really make sense. But you want to try to compromise and try to get that corner good as you can. And Pocono is always a compromise because there's 3 different corners, but it's a little bit more different than normal because of the jump. And I don't know, everyone might be calling it bumps, but I think it's big enough to call it a jump. And it's tough. When we get in a race situation, the guy on the inside there, he's he's not going to be able to hold the bottom very well, I don't think. It depends if we get better tomorrow. I mean, obviously, we're all going to try more things tomorrow in practice and try to make it better. But, it may promote some passing, possibly. But it's not going to promote much too wide racing through the tunnel, but it might off the corner because cars can make a mistake and you go up the racetrack, lose momentum, and a car can pass someone that way. But too wide through there is a good chance that someone loses a nose and gets up into somebody. And it's already been a tricky place to run too wide through that corner as it is, and it's always kind of hairy through it, and makes it exciting to watch for sure. But it's definitely it's going to be hard for cars to hold the bottom, especially on new tires with low air pressure. You're on a splitter more. So just all that kind of is going against you on a restart.
Claire?
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Jeff Gordon said it might make the race interesting, given that roughness in the tunnel turn and whatnot. But I'm wondering if that's something you guys think you can adapt to, because you said you work on things in practice, or is that something that's just going to pose sort of an interesting issue in the race?
Gives us something to talk about. That's for sure, and it'll be plenty interesting. I agree with Jeff on that. Will it help or hurt the racing? It's gonna make it different. But it's really bad. I mean, it's to the point that I'm nervous my car won't make it through the race because our cars aren't built to jump things. They're built to be on the ground, and that's kind of where they work best. And when your front tires come off the ground, they land and they're moving, and it just stresses all these parts and pieces out. We have everything built to the max of what our cars typically do, and this is a little bit more. So will cars break? Possibly. We don't. I guess we don't know, but it's something that I believe. I have a concern of. I know Brad has a concern about. We talked about it together, and it's something that I would assume they have to fix before the Indy cars get here, because I don't think their cars can go over that the way it is now. So we'll just have to find a way to deal with it throughout the weekend, and I would assume they're going to grind it or do something to try to fix that, but we'll have to wait and see.
Joy, good luck this weekend, and thanks a lot for joining us, and good luck in getting your star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Oh, gee, thanks. Everyone tune in.